Everybody loves photography. What's not to love about it? But this was not always the case, and that is what fascinates me. Hi, welcome to Sqaad Photography. How are you guys doing? I'm super excited and happy to have you guys in our channel again. Today we are going to discuss about the history and development of photography and also cameras. Everybody loves photography. What's not to love about it? It's a passion, a profession, a hobby, and a tool that all of us use to record our memories. Today, taking a picture is as easy as a click of a button, or with smartphone, should I say, touch of a button. Photography is available with all of us right in our pockets with our smartphones. We just have to take it out and shoot. But this was not always the case. Photography used to be a very cumbersome and difficult process, and that is what fascinates me of how photography has evolved over the years. The history of photography is very interesting, and one can easily get into so much depth about it. But let's not get into so much depth. Let's have a brief look at the history and development of this scientific art form. Photography has seen great development in its relatively short history. In over about 200 years, photography has developed from what used to be a box that recorded blurry photos to today's high-tech DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, and smartphones. The concept of photography has been there since the 5th century, but it was only until the 11th century when an Iraqi scientist discovered something called as a camera obscura, photography became an actual art form. Even this camera obscura did not actually take photographs. It simply projected the image onto another surface. The very first camera obscura that was used had a pinhole on a tent, and it simply projected the outside objects into the dark side of the tent. And it is also said that the images were actually projected upside down, but they were still used to trace real life objects like buildings. Some historians even claim that the great painter Leonardo da Vinci, he also used camera obscura for some of his paintings. The photographic process that we use today and know about wasn't invented until the 18th century in France. A French inventor called Joseph Nicephore Niepce made himself a light-sensitive chemical plate for his portable camera obscura and exposed it to light, and thereby creating what we know as the world's first recorded photograph. After Niepce died, his partner Louis Daguerre successfully converted what was just a scientific experimental success into an actual photographic process. He did this in the year 1833. He used copper that was plated with silver and treated this with iodine vapor. This led to the actual photographic process. Daguerre called this successful process as daguerreotype. He made this publicly available in the year 1839. Now that people know how to record images, the development of camera started rapidly from here. Though the development of cameras started rapidly, it still wasn't small and portable enough to carry it around. That was until 1888, when George Eastman created a flexible film roll that did not require constant changing of solid plates. This allowed Eastman to create a box camera. It was nothing but a wooden box that came preloaded with this flexible film roll of up to 100 exposures. This box camera had only a single lens and with no focusing adjustments. The customers who bought this camera after taking pictures had to send it back to the factory where they got it developed and printed for them. This was the first and most inexpensive camera that even an average person could afford. It all sounds great, right? But Eastman's film roll was still bigger than the 35mm film roll that we all are known of. It was only in 1910 a German engineer called Oskar Bernack came up with the first 35mm film roll camera, thus becoming a game changer. He introduced this to the commercial market in 1925 and named it, you guessed it right, Leica. After the invention of the 35mm camera came the invention of the reflexive cameras. The first reflexive camera was called Rolleiflex medium format twin lens reflexive camera. After the twin lens reflexive camera came the single lens reflexive camera that we all famously know of as SLR. This came in 1948 in Hungary and was named as Gamma Duplex. Post the single lens reflexive camera came the World War II. During World War II, the single lens reflexive camera gained huge popularity. That is when a company called Polaroid came up with their model number 95 and gave instant images. They used a secret chemical process that created exposing of the films in under less than a minute. These cameras were very expensive. Nevertheless, it caught the attention of the people because instant photographs were something very new at that time. But in the mid 1960s, Polaroid released many other models and even slashed its prices to increase its consumer market. Fascinating, isn't it? How so many models and names of cameras and film rolls that we have heard of or even used but never knew how they were made. Shall we go digital now? In 1977, an engineer in Kodak called Steven Sasson invented the first digital image sensor, post which in 1991 Kodak released DCS, which was known as Digital Camera System. From there, it has been non-stop and we know about DSLRs, and now even DSLRs have been replaced by mirrorless cameras. A beautiful history of advancements, isn't it? Imagine today's Generation X and social medias without this development of photography. I cannot think of a life without this advancement. I surely enjoyed sharing about the history of cameras and photography with you guys. Stay tuned for more informative and innovative videos on our channel. This is Sqaad Photography.